All right. Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, and here at Lulu, that means it is Webinar Wednesday sometimes, about twice a month at least. So if you are joining us today, I just want to thank you so much for spending time to hop into this webinar with us. So today we're going to do something a little bit new that we haven't done. We've only done this once before, so just kind of an AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything. The last one that I did was quite impromptu, very Lulu focused. And so we thought today would be a great opportunity to let you ask questions about e-commerce for authors. So I'm going to start today with a couple slides, just kind of talking about Lulu's e-commerce integrations and how you can interact with them and how they may be helpful to you in your author business. And then we'll just open it up for questions and just see where this goes. So I see that you guys are already in the chat. You're all so great at doing that. So thank you for doing the same today. So I'll just start with a couple of housekeeping things. And while I'm kind of going over this, feel free to hop in and tell us where you are, where you're from, what you're working on. Have you worked with e-commerce before? Are you selling things through e-commerce on your website right now? So let us know. Give us some information that we can work off of. Thank you all. Bob, eager to learn today. We're eager to teach or answer questions. Marcia, Chocolate, thank you. Hello. I've seen you before, and thank you for joining us today. Ronald, hey. Deb, hello. So thank y'all so much for hopping in. So to get started, all of you who have registered today will receive a recording of today's webinar. So if you join late or have to leave early, no worries there. We've got you covered. We will also post this to our YouTube channel as well. So if you go to YouTube and just search for Lulu University, you will find us. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And so we'll go ahead and get started. Again, drop your questions. You can use the chat feature. There's also a Q&A feature. So hey, whatever, dealer's choice. We'll be checking both. So thank you so much. I will also say I am coming to you today from the beautiful state of Alaska. So fantastic out here. Highly recommend it if you have never been. But my internet may be a bit delayed. So thank you in advance for bearing with me there. Great. And I see y'all are hopping in the chat. So excited to be here. Thank you for being here. And we'll go ahead and hop in. So as I mentioned, Ecommerce AMA, that is the name of the game today. So AMA is Ask Me Anything. Fortunately, it's not just me. I am joined today by the fabulous Sarah Gilbert, who we will try to tag team and answer all of your questions. And we also have a third who may be joining us, Kristen Moxley, who is our e-commerce specialist as well. And she had her son had to come home from daycare because the power was out. So I'm sure all of you who are parents or just live life know that things come up sometimes. Take us away from our regular planned programming. So hopefully she will be able to join us. And if not, that's okay too. All right. So we'll go ahead and dive in. Okay. So several of you, I'm seeing some familiar names in the chat. So welcome back to all of you. If you are not familiar with who we are and what we do, we are Lulu. Not just a fun word to say. It is actually a real word, which means a remarkable person, object, or idea. So we were founded in 2002 by Bob Young. So just celebrated our 20th birthday in February. So that was very exciting. Our platform is free to use. We've published over 3 million books, and this number has only grown since I updated this slide earlier in the year. So very exciting, and paid out over $117 million in author revenue. So also very exciting. So you can see here, our mission is that we're dedicated to making the world a better place, one book at a time, through sustainable practices, innovative print-on-demand products, and a commitment to excellent service. All right, so I always love to share that we are a B Corp. This is one of my favorite things about Lulu. So every opportunity I have, I like to kind of plug that we are involved with the B Corp community. If you are not familiar with B Corps, look it up. It's a fantastic community, as I mentioned. So it's for-profit companies that are committed to standards of social and environmental performance, accountability, and transparency. So it's a little bit too early to be talking about holidays. I guess Father's Day is coming up around the corner. But if you are looking for a way to spend your dollars maybe in a more intentional way, then check out the community of B Corps. It's a fantastic group, and we are proud to be a part of it. Bob loves Lulu. We love you, Bob. Okay, so who are we? I am Chelsea Bennett. I am Sans Cat today. Unfortunately, again, Couldn't bring him out to Alaska, but that probably worked out for the better. And I am joined by Sarah Gilbert.
Hi, I'm Sarah Gilbert. I'm the e-commerce marketing manager with Dog. Hopefully he'll stay quiet throughout this, but yep. So it's so good to see everybody here, and we can't wait to get started.
Could be an exciting cameo if he joins us as well. Yeah, her dog is beautiful. All right, so let's just hop into the main event. So we're here to answer your questions to the best of our ability about e-commerce for authors. So we have at Lulu released a couple e-commerce integrations, and e-commerce just means selling things online. So if you have books, we just realized that being able to sell your books directly through your website has some really tremendous implications for you as an author and your author business. I'll get into those in the next slide before we open it up for questions. But if you aren't familiar with what we do with e-commerce, we allow you to sell your books directly through your website. So we have a couple e-commerce integrations, and we look forward to expanding that portfolio as the year moves on. However, today we're going to talk about the two that we have, and then again, answer your questions about, what we've done with e-commerce, what you can do with e-commerce, and how to get started, or whatever other questions are on your mind. So again, all these solutions are really just for you, the author, to have more control over your reader experience, your customer journey, the revenue that you're earning, automation, and things like that. So on this next slide, you can see I'll have the URL here where you can learn more about our e-commerce integration. So currently we are integrated with Shopify. So that was the first one that we released. So Shopify is like one of the biggest e-commerce platforms out there. So a really great way to connect and sell your books directly to your readers. And then more recently, we released a WooCommerce integration that has that works with WordPress. So we know a lot of authors, a lot of folks in general use WordPress for blogs or their website hosting. So we integrated with WooCommerce as well. So now if you have a WordPress site, you can work with WooCommerce, integrate with Lulu Direct, and sell books directly through your website. So I know that a lot of this, is maybe e-commerce lingo, might be a bit abstract. You're not sure how to connect the dots with this. So the benefits of selling books directly through your website, and there are obviously several ways that you can do this, but the benefits to you if you integrate with an e-commerce solution that we'll be talking about today is the automated print and fulfillment. So another way to sell books directly is obviously by ordering your books in bulk and then hand fulfilling orders as they come through your website. That's definitely one way to do it. But with these solutions that Lulu has, you can automate the print and fulfillment. So by plugging into our Shopify app or our app for WooCommerce, you can automate print fulfillment, not have to worry about inventory. As orders come to your website, they're transmitted to us to print and fulfill. The book gets delivered to your readers, so your hands don't have to get dirty with any packing and shipping. So that's a really great way to kind of automate the whole process. You also get to keep 100% of your revenue. So if you're selling your books through Lulu.com right now, you're probably familiar with our 80-20 revenue split. If you're selling your books through Amazon, I believe their revenue split is 60-40. However, if you sell direct to your readers, you're keeping all of your revenue outside the manufacturing cost. So another really exciting way to kind of grow your author business and help out your bottom line. So you can also retain customer data. So transactional data is a huge benefit to any business just in general. So not just authors, but what this means is if you're familiar with selling your books through a distributor like Lulu or like Amazon, you're not able to get your customer data. So you can see that you sold your book, but you can't see who you sold it to because of privacy laws. So by selling directly through your own website, you can get that information. You can get customer names, customer email addresses, phone numbers, things like that. So you can remarket to them, grow your email list, connect with them, and really build your own audience rather than having to kind of go through a middleman to do that. So that is tremendously valuable for anyone looking to grow their business. No inventory management, as I talked about that. Automated print fulfillment takes care of that problem. And then white label shipping. So this is something that I think is really interesting as well for any author. If you wanted to create your own publishing imprint, or if you already have your own imprint and you just want to keep your branding front and center, you can do that. With white label shipping, your branding can be on the packaging throughout. So no one has to know that Lulu is involved. It's about you, not us. So your branding is front and center. It's a seamless process for your readers. They're on your website. They're checking out on your website. So you're really able to connect with them through multiple stages of the process, have the transaction native on your website, collect transactional data, and earn more revenue. So all things that I think are very exciting and can be very beneficial to any author business. So if you would like to peruse this, then you can see the link down there. I can also drop it in the chat. So it's lulu.com/sell on your site. Also, if you go to our homepage, you will see the sell tab. The drop down there will take you to the sell on your site as well. So I think I will leave this slide up and see what questions you guys have. So I will say, Bob, great question. This is recorded. So we will be recording this presentation. Everyone who registered today, I think within 24 hours, will receive a recording through Webinar Jam. Also, it'll be posted to our YouTube channel. So again, if you go to YouTube and just search Lulu University or Lulu Press, you can find us there. And we have a webinars playlist that this will be added to later today. So again, feel free to like and subscribe while you're there. We'd love to have you join that community. All right. So who is ready for questions? Go ahead and drop them in here now. I'm just going to scroll through and see where we started. So this question isn't specific to. Oh, sure.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I was gonna kick it off with one of them that are already in here.
Yes. Well, so I'll start with Kevin's question, which I don't think is specific to today's topic, but can I search for previous recordings on other topics? Kevin, yes. The best way to do that would be through our YouTube channel. So just go to our YouTube channel. Again, just search Lulu University or Lulu Press, and then you'll be able to look through our webinars playlist. And yeah, Sarah, I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. My bad. So I've been kind of looking over some of the questions we've gotten in. Just wanted to also say that I do see some questions particular to maybe a concern over your account or a specific order. Unfortunately, Chelsea and I cannot dive into our system and are not able to respond to anything of anybody's personal account nature, but we can give you directions for how to get the best help from our group after the webinar. So I did want to go ahead and answer one question that Bob had, and Mandy Jo has a question along the same lines about so Bob said, how about on a Wix site? What's the best strategy? And Mandy Jo asked, which is better, Shopify or WooCommerce? So both really great questions. So as you may or may not know, we actually kicked off this whole direct initiative years ago when we created an app for Shopify where you can plug into the Lulu print network from your Shopify store. So what this means is that if you have a website operated on the Shopify platform, you can go into the Shopify app store, grab the Lulu Direct Shopify app, and then follow the instructions to get hooked up to our print network. So somebody who checks out on your store and buys your book, you don't have to touch anything. That print job comes to us. And like Chelsea said, it's white labeled. So the person who ordered the book gets this gorgeous package. And on the inside, the shipping insert doesn't have any pricing information on it, but it does have information about the order if you want to put that on it. As far as like an order number, it has your branding, your logo, a message from you. There's some cool things you can do with marketing in that message. And that's how that works. And we saw a lot of success, and we've seen some very interesting entrepreneurial ideas. People have been using Shopify for all sorts of different things, whether it's a professional book, a notebook, a journal, maybe it's a cookbook. But what they're doing really, like Chelsea said, is they're getting that customer data. So the next thing we did this past year in March, we launched the same type of thing with WooCommerce. So 40% of all websites operate on the platform called WordPress. And WooCommerce is what you can plug into WordPress to build a store, and people can buy things on your store. So with that in mind, we wanted to go ahead and grab the next biggest platform and start working with anybody who has a WooCommerce connection or a WordPress connection, since that was a very highly demanded platform people are using. So after that, we do have a list of lots of other different platform integrations that we certainly want to go after. And we're prioritizing that based on some of the things as far as like which ones are demanded from our customers. Not demanded, you're not demanding anything, but which ones are asked for from our customers. And Wix is certainly one of them. Others that we're hearing about that people ask for, Squarespace. There are others that, come to mind. ClickFunnels is another one people ask for. So there's all different platforms. There's dozens of them, and we will try to get up and going on as many as quickly as possible. So that hopefully answers Bob's question, but I want to get up to Mandy Jo's question, which is better Shopify or Woo. It doesn't really, they both operate very well and are incredibly popular. I think it depends on what best suits your business model. Shopify is a one-stop shop. You go in, you create an account. It will guide you through creating a website and adding all the tools that you want, especially if you wanted to have a checkout system on it so you could have people buy books on your website. It's very intuitive and easy. And it's got really slick tools that come with marketing abilities. And so like if you're plugged into all of your social media networks, you can track a lot of the data and things like that on Shopify. WooCommerce has been around a little bit longer. So if you go into the App Store on WooCommerce or WordPress, when I say WooCommerce, we're going to interchange that and WordPress at the same time because they go hand in hand. But that WooCommerce has a ton of apps. And so it's more of like a, find which ones work for you. And it's got a lot of developers work on WordPress apps. So it's got a humongous offering as far as apps go. I'll stop there and see if Chelsea had anything she wanted to add to it as far as the differences between Shopify and WooCommerce.
Yeah, and actually, Mandy Jo, this is a great timing, and I know I sound like a broken record, but I will direct you to our YouTube channel again because tomorrow we will have a video that we're releasing that is Shopify versus WooCommerce and which is right for you. And so we go over, a lot of the points of highlight or things to note about each platform and why you may choose one over the other. Sarah did a great job just kind of running that down. But I would say I'm going to drop the link to our YouTube channel in the chat right now. So take a look. I think our videos usually come out around 3 p.m. EST on Thursdays, usually the last Thursday of the month. But I know that the first one on the list or the next one on the list is a comparison of these two platforms. And for you as an author, how that works. Oh, great. So you're subscribed to the channel. So you'll get that notification. That'll be coming out tomorrow. So hopefully that'll answer some questions for you and make it a little bit easier for you to figure out which is the best for you in your situation. So I can see that some of you are putting questions in the Q&A. So Sarah, I will let you answer this question as well. So this one's from Mark. I added my book to Shopify. If I revise it on Lulu, will it be the same as available through Shopify?
Yes, it will. So you'll want to go into your Shopify store and make sure that it is the new version. But yes, if you revise your book on Lulu, it should also update within your Shopify account. Yes.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark, for that question. All right. So this one, David, you're long suffering. I know you've been asking this. I feel like on every webinar, and I have done a very poor job at getting you a good answer for this. So Sarah, I'm so glad you're here. I will also direct this to you. So David's saying, is Lulu working on a JavaScript button that we can copy paste to our website and sell books that way, similar to Gumroad or Lemon Squeezy?
Yeah, good question, David. And I also want to tie in another question I saw in here about like, okay, I have Wix. What can I do in the meantime? So we're not working on that right now. But for those who, don't have Shopify or are not using Shopify or Wix, or WordPress right now, the API is an option. Now, a lot of people, unless you're experienced with coding, you probably don't even know what API stands for. So it's application programming interface. And what it just really means is that you're actually taking the code and you're putting together the puzzle behind the scenes rather than using built-in tools already. So it's a way that you can connect. It usually takes somebody to do it who has a high and a very in-depth knowledge of coding and how that works. So it's like we basically give you the code so you can custom build whatever kind of API integration you want to with our print network. So if you don't have Shopify, if you don't have WordPress WooCommerce, and if you're not an API user, you can still use like a part of Shopify. So let's say you have a home built website. What you can do is you can get a Shopify account, and there are different account levels that you have to subscribe to. And I don't know necessarily which one you would need with this. When Kristen gets on, she might be able to help answer this question. But what happens is if you create a cart, you can add a shop page to whatever website you have and have that Shopify cart be integrated with your page. So it's basically if a user comes to your website and is interested in buying the book, you would just link them off to that Shopify page where they could buy for now. Now, not all websites will allow you to do that. And I don't know if Wix will, but it is a solution we have seen people use who don't have the coding knowledge to pull together an API connection and are not currently using WordPress or a site built exclusively by Shopify.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And so, David, I hope that was gave you a little bit more context and information. And thank you again for joining us today and for asking that one. Okay. And so Robin is asking, how long does it take to get paid by Lulu when you have your book sold through Lulu? So, Robin, if you're referring to the Lulu bookstore, so just lulu.com, you're selling your books through the bookstore. We had 2 payment methods for that. So you can get paid quarterly via check as long as your revenue crosses the $20 threshold. So as long as you make more than $20, you will get a check quarterly. And if not, then that'll just roll over until you do reach that threshold. Or you can choose to be paid through PayPal. And with PayPal, you get paid monthly as long as you hit a $5 threshold in revenue. So as long as your revenue exceeds or hits $5, then you'll get paid out monthly through PayPal. So we've got 2 payment methods there through Lulu. But Sarah, could you talk to a little bit about the payouts for our e-commerce solutions?
Yeah, so it's a totally different way. So if you are going to be using Lulu Direct, it's different because what's happening is your customers are not paying Lulu, they're actually paying you. So on the screen, the slide that says keep 100% of revenue, what that means is, let's say it costs $6 to print your book. Then you're charging $16 for the book on your website. All $10 difference goes to you. Now there's a component of shipping and handling in there that also has to be worked into the equation, but I'm no math expert, so I'm just going to keep it real simple right now. So there's the 100% of the revenue goes to you. So you actually collect the revenue right before we get the print job, right at the same time. So you collect the revenue, the transaction happens, and then the print job comes to Lulu. So that's how that works. And so we're not going to pay you anything. You actually are paying us to print the book. Yeah. And then I wanted to jump in and answer another question that I saw here, if it's all right. This is Jason asked a great one. Do I need to create Lulu Direct account to go with my Lulu account? Huge point of confusion that we've tried to simplify. And it actually, you don't. So Lulu Direct and Lulu are one and the same. You go to lulu.com to start your book. And when you go to start a new project on Lulu, you're going to be asked a series of questions. And one is if you can sell direct through us. So that's going to guide you to the steps to go ahead and have that same project be sold through your WordPress site. And then also, if you have a project on Lulu already, you're selling it, maybe you've got it through global distribution, you can actually go into Lulu, into your account, and there's going to be a page where it says sell on your site, and you enter your WordPress credentials, your login and your username and your password, and it'll connect your Lulu account to your WordPress store. And then subsequently you connect a project, which is going to be that book that you're already selling, to your WordPress store. So that's how you would do it with WordPress. For Shopify right now, we started the app several years ago. So the best place to start with Shopify is within your Shopify store. Go to the Lulu Direct app on their account, on your Shopify account, and then get going from there. So And then Mark, I see a question. You revised cover yesterday on Lulu. Just checked on it Shopify and it wasn't the same. It looks like I need to revise it through the Lulu app on Shopify. Yes, you do. You need to revise it through the Lulu app for Shopify to make it current. Yeah, let's see here. What else?
And I'll grab this question from Kevin.
Okay.
Sorry, Sarah, I don't mean to.
Oh, you're fine. Go for it.
Yeah, I'll grab this from Kevin. So he says, I have a book. All right. Well, it starts with, I hope this question isn't too basic. It isn't. I have a book, but my hesitancy to write another one is my existing book gathering dust because I don't know how to let people know it exists. Question. Do I have to become a marketer in addition to my main job, or do you recommend I hire a coach or marketer or other professional to format and promote my books? So I would say the formatting part of it, if you are not comfortable or if you're not familiar with how to format your book or you don't want to mess with it, I would definitely recommend hiring somebody for that. I will say at the end of this, I will share, we have a course that we've released that will be starting in June that we will walk you through how to format a book if you're interested in that. So I'll give you more details on that in a minute. But if that's something you don't want to deal with, then and you have the financial resources to hire someone, I would recommend doing that. You can find a list of providers on lulu.com/partners, a lot of people who can help you with formatting, editing, things like that. But to go back to your question about marketing, so one of the best practices that we always tell our authors is keep writing. So if you have an idea about, another book, Kevin, love your enthusiasm about this course. Good. Stay tuned. We'll share that at the end. But if you have a book that you want to write, keep writing, because nothing will sell your backlist better than new books, because people will read your first book. They'll love it. They'll look for other work that you've done. And if you don't have anything for them to buy or look into, then that can be a missed opportunity for you. So if you have a book out already and you want to write the next one, don't let the fear of not sharing that book or not marketing that book appropriately yet stop you from continuing to write, because that's just going to give you more content and more ways for your audience to support you and invest in you. So I would say if the short answer, I think, is yes, you probably do want to become a bit of a marketer as well as your day job. But again, if that's something that you're not comfortable doing or you don't want to invest in or you're not familiar with, hire someone. I mean, there's a ton of platforms of folks out there, of companies that would love to help you with marketing. Again, do your research. There are also a ton of people and companies that would love to take your money and not help you or take advantage of you. So definitely look for reviews, look for testimonials, have these conversations with them, understand your budget and what you're looking to get out of it. We have some information, some free resources just about how to market and how to get started with your author platform. But I mean, marketing is a part of it. I mean, you can't sell books if you don't tell people, hey, I did a thing and go check it out. And I know that can feel really kind of salesy and gross to people, especially introverts, a lot of authors that don't feel comfortable with the marketing aspect of it. But my answer to that would be, if you know who your target audience is, and again, Kevin, I don't know exactly what your book is about, but if you've written a book and you know who it's for and you know who your ideal reader is, then you understand how your book will benefit them. So you should know or have an idea in mind of like who you think would most specifically love your book and who would like your book the best. So if you know who that person is, then you're adding value. So if you wrote a book that's a thriller, that's about, a murder that happened in a library, and you know exactly your audience is people who love thrillers, who love, libraries. This is a poor example, but you should know exactly who that book is going to help. So these people, you're not just trying to sell them snake oil. You're saying, hey, I know that you love this genre. I've written a really good book that fits into this. The alternative to that is if you're a nonfiction author and you've written a book about, I think I saw someone in the chat saying they work with stress management. So if your book is about stress management, you know exactly who that book is going to benefit and how it's going to help them. So you're not, again, selling them something that's not useful. You're saying, hey, I've written something comprehensive that I know will help you. So it's going to be beneficial to both of us if you look at this resource. So I know that marketing can be a bear for a lot of folks, and it can be really hard to put yourself out there. But my advice to you, Kevin, would be, one, keep writing, of course. And then two, you have to decide, do you want to dive into this? Do you want to become a marketer? Do you want to, go that route? Or do you have the financial ability to hire someone that can help you do that or take some of that burden off of you? So I would start by doing some research. I would definitely try to get educated, at least on a basic level, of what you're looking for in regards to marketing. I would try to find out for your target audience what social media platform they're most active on, what websites they visit, what their habits are, so that you can, if you do choose to work with a marketing professional, you can give them this information so that you're not just kind of letting them, try to make these decisions or figure it out on your behalf. So do some research, figure out where your audience is, and then figure out from there, is this a place that you want to be actively involved in, or is this something that you want someone else to kind of help you navigate, and then see where that takes you. So thank you for that question.
Great. So I'll go ahead and jump in and grab one here. Mandy Jo said, I thought I heard we could connect our book project directly to WordPress. Is that correct? Yes, it is correct. So you go again, I'll kind of lay out the steps very, in sequential order. You have to have a WordPress site, and you have to have WooCommerce as a connection on your WordPress site for checking out on that store. Your Lulu account, go into your Lulu account and choose the selection to sell direct. It's going to ask you for your WordPress credentials. You connect your WordPress store to Lulu, and then you can connect your project on Lulu to the same WordPress store. And from there, when somebody checks on a WordPress, it should automatically come to us. And definitely encourage you to go through and do a test order before you open up that ability to everybody else. So, and then I saw another question here about looking for marketers on Google. And then Chelsea, did you already take that one? Was that in your most recent response, or do you want me to go ahead and grab that one?
Yeah, I can hop in. This looks like kind of a follow-up from Kevin. And so I would say, obviously Google knows everything about everybody. So give it a shot, look up, search for book marketers or marketing professionals. I would look for definitely someone who specifies in author marketing or book marketing, even if you can drill down more specifically into your genre or fiction versus nonfiction. And then my best advice there would be, really be diligent about looking through to see what reviews are available, who else has used them. Can you reach out to someone like that who can say, yes, I worked with this person and had great success? Or so, I mean, just give yourself enough time to really dig into it and make sure that you're matched with someone who's going to be able to really come along with you on this journey and really care about the project as much as you do. And then I saw, I saw another question. Oh, a question from David. So his question is about ebook global distribution and Lulu. So I can answer this or speak to this a bit on the Lulu side. Sarah, I know that our e-commerce integrations are specifically for print books right now, but when I'm done, I'll kind of let you speak to any insights you have about, e-commerce for ebooks. Okay. So for Lulu, we do have ebooks available. We also do global distribution for our ebooks. We do iBooks, Kobo, Google Play. I think kind of all the heavy hitters for ebook distribution as well. And, I see that your comment, you're saying currently some writers groups are saying it's best to use Draft to Digital and not Ingram or Lulu, as they don't cover all ebook sellers. So just to be transparent and honest, I mean, print books are our bread and butter. I mean, that's what we really excel at. I see some of you have left some really kind comments, kind of backing that up. So if you don't believe me, you can take a look at those. But yeah, so we really focus on print books. I mean, we really try to make sure that our product is the best in the market, and that you have the ability to sell those as many ways as possible. That being said, we do offer ebook services and we offer ebook distribution. But I mean, I think if you kind of want to have everything in one place, having your ebooks and your print books in your Lulu account makes that easy for you. But Draft to Digital, all they do is ebooks. So they may very well have more integrations or more possibilities for your ebook than we do. I don't know enough about Draft to Digital to know, what they offer compared to what we offer. But again, it's all about really doing your research and figuring out what you're looking for that specific project. So the short answer there is going to be yes, we do global distribution for ebooks. And I would just recommend looking at our website. We do have a list of everywhere we distribute, and then just comparing that to Draft to Digital. And Sarah, I'll let you add anything about, our Lulu Direct offerings there.
Yeah, you bet. So for Lulu Direct, we currently do not have an integration that's going to allow you to sell ebooks through your site and Lulu fulfill them. It is something that some people want. I will say what I've seen a lot of authors do, and this may be a trick for you to get more people to buy your book, is a lot of times people will offer a free download of a first chapter for free. So like if you are, especially for a fiction book or, something where there's like the entertainment factor, if you have a first chapter that you can offer as a digital download for somebody, if they're going to subscribe to your newsletter or follow you on social media, then what you can do is offer them the print book after they've read that first chapter and feel excited about reading the rest of your book. So that's one thing you can do. Through your website, you should have the ability to offer something for free as a download pretty effortlessly. So just an idea, if you like ebooks and you want to go the ebook route, that's something that I've seen a lot of people do to tease people into buying a print version of their book. So, and then I did want to go back to also Kevin's question about looking for marketers on Google too. I used to be in book marketing, and there's a few different avenues you can take. There's PR, public relations, and then there's marketing. And the difference is like advertising marketing, you're going to pay for an ad, and then PR, it's like earned media, which means like maybe you have an article posted or you're getting reviews or things where, you're asking people for something and to be able to get your book out there and get the word out, and you're not paying for it. So be careful of anybody who makes big promises about marketing. So, pay attention to the amount of effort that anybody says they're going to put into it, because I think that's the key there. So, you should really go for somebody who's going to set very realistic expectations and not promise you the world, because I think I was looking it up in the last week, if they tell you they're going to get you on the New York Times review list, New York Times reviews fewer than 1% of all traditionally published books that come out in a year. So, just a heads up to be very careful about somebody making huge promises on that.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, I forgot. Not only are you an e-commerce expert, but you're also a marketing expert. So I should have pulled you in on that one. So thank you for looping back around on that. Yeah. So I've got, let's see, we'll hop back in. And so Luella is asking, and I think maybe you had already answered the Mandy Jo question. So we'll move on to Luella. I have a book on Lulu Set Up, but by my editor, it is under her account. How do I get it added to that account? So I think maybe what you're asking, and feel free to drop a clarifying little comment in here, but and we see this a lot where maybe your publisher or your editor or your cover designer will upload things on your behalf, maybe in their account or in your account. So if your editor, the way that I'm interpreting this question is that your editor has it under her account and you want to have access to that account. So what I would recommend is either, she give you the password. That would really be the only way. I know that can get a bit dicey. Another way to do it would be she puts the book in private access or just gives you the files. You can re-upload it to your account. I would recommend creating your own account since you're the author. And again, just depending on how your sort of professional relationship is set up with this person. But I would just recommend creating your own account, requesting the final files from your editor, and then uploading a new version into your account with all that information. Unless you want to share an account where, again, that would just be, her giving you the password and you can both work out of it. And Mandy Jo, I see that you're asking how explicit is explicit. So I have a fantasy novel there is mentioning about sex, but not detailed description. There's a mention of childbirth and then a detailed description. So and Sarah, you may have a better answer than I do. I guess I would say so you as the author have to, you will designate if your book is explicit or not. So unless someone finds it and flags it on Lulu, we will not be reviewing your content to see if it's explicit. So kind of Scout's honor here. However, as an author, if you are worried about that, I would say, think about, is this appropriate for someone? I think 18 or something is kind of what will make someone validate if they are trying to look at explicit content. So is this appropriate for 18 and up? Is this appropriate for a middle middle grade audience. You just kind of be thinking about that. And my best recommendation there would be, I would look online and just see what kind of content is available to a middle grade audience. And if that sort of mirrors the information that you're sharing and the way that you're talking about these things, or, is this more of an adult genre that you would need to look into that. 18 and up, it's kind of the way that we designate explicit content for 18 and up. So that's, if that's helpful, that's sort of where we draw the line.
Yeah, Chelsea's exactly right. It's 18 and up. I just dropped in our help link about how we can kind of define what explicit content is, that, it is Scout's honor, and you certainly want to flag it that way. So anybody shopping in our bookstore is not finding it if they're under the age of 18. And I'm going to jump in and ask another question from David. Does Lulu Direct support PayPal purchases? Likewise, Google and Apple Pay. So if your website supports those payment types, then yes, we do. So you have to kind of think about Lulu Direct as, we're going to be the fulfillment engine behind any purchases made on your website. So if your website accepts PayPal and Google and Apple Pay, which are all fantastic payment methods to have available to your customers, then yes, that works. And so we actually never see that because that transaction takes place exclusively on your website. So what happens is the buyer pays you, the checkout happens, and then we get the print job request behind the scenes. So you're paying us through Lulu Direct for the print cost. And what we can have is we usually have a place for you to enter where you can have a card on file. And this card on file is what is charged anytime a print job comes through. But how the user pays for the book on your website is totally up to the payment methods that you have available. And on that vein too, I wanted to also add that, Lulu Direct is a little bit of a different entity because when you explore this option, which, it is well worth having if you want to get that customer data, you want to earn more money, take over the customer journey and the sales process, have the white label shipping, be that fulfillment engine, you're going to be the business side of this. So you're going to be collecting money. You need to make sure your website has everything up to date as far as tax collection. I heard somebody one time say that I think it's TaxJar is an app that a lot of websites use to make sure that all the tax calculations are happening and running smoothly. Because, with this, when you're collecting money comes the responsibility of making sure everything is done appropriately. And thankfully, there are a lot of tools with WordPress sites and Shopify where it makes it really easy. But those are things you definitely want to keep abreast ahead of time before you start diving into direct sales. So I'm not trying to scare anybody and say, don't do it because this is going to be confusing. I'm trying to encourage you to say you can do it. All the tools are there for you to take advantage of. You're just going to have to find them and search them out through whatever website platform you're using.
Yes, thank you, Sarah. And we did a e-commerce webinar that, again, lives on our YouTube channel that we kind of walk through the 5 things you need to know before setting up your e-commerce business. And in that webinar, we do talk about, your LLC and some tax stuff. Again, we're not tax professionals or business consultants. We are Lulu employees. So we just kind of walk through the best practices and what we see our customers going through and what they're doing to set up their shop successfully and trying to create that blueprint for you. So again, I think the title of that is the 5 things you need to know about setting up your e-commerce business. So take a look at that. And I think that might be helpful to you. And I see that Haven is asking, I wrote a book about releasing your physical weight. Did you say to write your next book anyway? I still need to promote the first book. So first, I want to say I commend you for saying release your physical weight instead of losing weight. I heard someone say, you always look for things that you lose. So saying you released it, maybe then you won't find it again. So I appreciate that. So I again, the best practice is just keep writing because then that just builds out your content library. And then you always have something to point people to when they're like, hey, I love this work. So maybe you're a consultant, or maybe you can offer some training on how to release weight or something like that. So maybe that is what you're more focused on, and your book is just a lead hook. If that is what it's used for, maybe you don't need to work on writing the next one. Maybe you can start working on creating, a YouTube channel or a podcast or some white papers or blog posts to support the book that point back to the book. So I think that, everything that you want to do to promote this book, you still have to be working on it if you want to sell that, but it also depends on what your goal is for the book. So again, if the book is just a lead magnet for you, then maybe you don't have to start writing the next one. And again, you kind of do some of those supplemental efforts to try to push this book out so you can get more business. So, all of these questions it's not a one size fits all, but if you do want to continue writing, if you do have another book in you, then go ahead and start writing it, because maybe people who didn't catch the first one will see the second one. And then again, that sells your backlist, or vice versa. They see the second one, then they come after the latest release. So it's never going to be a bad idea to continue putting out content. So that's definitely my best advice there. And I'll grab this next one from Mandy Jo, and then I'll stop talking and let Sarah hop back in. I will say we are coming up to about the end of the hour, so get your questions in now. So Mandy Jo is, what distribution channel is LSI? I see I have some books sold there. So LSI is Ingram. So Ingram is, the biggest wholesaler in the game. Through Lulu, you can put your books through Ingram. And, if you want your books in bookstores or libraries or things like that, a lot of bookstores, independent stores will buy from the Ingram catalog because they have the wholesale process kind of built in. But that is when you see LSI, that is Ingram distribution.
Awesome. So I wanted to actually kind of go back to something somebody said at the beginning, and it's not really a question, but talk about another topic that Lulu Direct is really a great tool for. So Jenny earlier in the conversation said, I speak and write to markets, professional speakers, and the dental professions on the best management practices. I don't know how many of our attendees today are nonfiction authors, but one way that I've seen people use Lulu Direct in a very productive way for nonfiction, or maybe if this is connected to your profession, is for lead generation. And I got that thought when Chelsea was just talking about lead generation. So what that means is you're not necessarily giving or selling your book for book profit, but maybe you're doing it to build your potential customer list. Like, so for example, if you have an expertise on, say you're in the finance realm, maybe you're a mortgage consultant and you wrote a short book on, things that you can do to your home to increase the value or whatever it is, something that you're an expert in, and you're sending this out, you're selling it on Lulu. So if you sold it on your website, what happens is you now know who's buying your book, and these are people who are potential customers for you. So not only are you potentially earning a little bit of revenue on it, but this is somebody who could be your next client. So I see a lot of people using it on a professional basis, and they may not be even using it to sell the book that they've had out for a long time. Maybe they're using it to sell a complimentary workbook that goes with their profession. So maybe you don't even maybe you're on this call today and you haven't even written a book yet, but you are in the space of selling things on your website, and you have a personal brand that's connected to your profession. Well, what you can do is put together some kind of journal or workbook that goes along with it. And that's material that you can get out that's pretty valuable for your customers and to grow that customer list you have. So just wanted to throw that out there. I was looking at that comment earlier. Let's see here. What else do we have? Desiree said, is there a way I can only publish to Lulu and LSI Ingram through Lulu and no others? I don't know the answer to that. I think that if you go through Lulu and publish through Ingram, I'm not sure who the no others you're trying to exclude are. But if you do publish a book through Lulu and choose global distribution, that essentially is Ingram LSI distribution. So that should accomplish what you're asking for. I'm not sure who you're trying to exclude there, but if there's somebody in particular, there isn't typically a way to have like one retailer pulled out of that equation. So LSI distribution is going to go to all of them. And then I see Ralph said, I'm new to Lulu, but I did get 2 books finished for publication. Yay, Ralph. That's not easy to get 2 books out. However, in working on the second book, there were things I didn't see while doing book 1. Is it possible to change book 1 so that it would be similar to book 2, or is it important? That's a personal preference. Maybe, but the answer to the question, you absolutely can go in and update the book anytime. So, if you start noodling on the idea that you want them to match, you can go back in and make any changes you want to book 1, and it should update immediately. And if that's what the goal is for you, then you can do that. I don't necessarily think it's critical to, your sales strategy to have them match exactly. But again, that kind of depends on the book. So I'll leave it there and see if Chelsea has anything else to add to that.
No, you nailed it. I mean, that was kind of what my answer would be as well. Is it just depends on your specific situation and if it matters to you and if you think it'll matter to your readers. But just kind of going on the information you mentioned, it's a little bit vague. So I'm not exactly sure what you mean when you say that you notice. If it's something like metadata, you didn't get your metadata right, then you'll probably want to go update that. But if it's something a little bit more minor, that's completely up to you. But you can always easily, revise your manuscript and then re-upload to Lulu and republish that pretty quickly. And let's see. So I'll do a last call for questions here. So please get them in. Let's see. Does the update work on other vendors like Amazon and Barnes & Noble? So if you update your book on Lulu, you will have to go through the process again of getting it into global distribution. So if you update the files and your book is already in global distribution, you will need to kind of resend it through the process, and that older version will be available until you kind of re-trigger it to update, to go through. So it is sort of like just making a revision and going through the whole process again. So thank you for that question. All right, Kathy's asking, if you update a book, do you need to submit a new copyright? It just depends on what you update. I don't think, if you revise it, I think depending on what you revise, everything will stay the same. If you are creating a new book, obviously you'll have to go through copyright things again. And Sarah, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if you just update, something about, the cover or the interior, I think your copyright will be able to stay the same. But our system is really intuitive. And so if you update things and you need it, and that causes other things to change or shift, our system should let you know kind of what you'll need to do. So going through a revision process will kind of trigger the line of events that you'll need to go through to get your book ready for sale again, or to be available to the public again. And thank you for that question.
You're right. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see here. I'm going to jump in and answer another question here. If you update a book, do you need to submit a new? Oh, no, not that one. I'm sorry. You just answered that one. How do you stop the old and change the new one? So if you can think about the distribution process, and then I'm going to get back to somebody here who has a question about the process of, let's see here, getting it into, that was a follow-up, Ralph. I'm sorry. You had a follow-up about the second book that you paid the $454 for a library number. Okay, got it. So distribution behind the scenes, what happens is you go in and make a change to your Lulu account. We update that book on Lulu right away. It's immediately. So, and then we send the new version of that book back through distribution, like Chelsea mentioned. And depending on the channel, that can take a few weeks for that new version to replace the old one through distribution. But the new one does replace the old one as long as you have the same ISBN number that's coming through and being used. So it's just, you just have to be a little bit patient with that. And then I want to answer the question too about selling a few different books that Aliki asked. We have 3 volumes we published to Lulu. Is there a way to offer a code to purchase all when someone goes to purchase one? So one of the cool benefits of selling direct is you have control of that when it's sold on your website. So what that means is if you have 3 books that you're selling separately on your website and you want to sell them together as a bundle, there's a way that through your website, you can create a coupon or a discounted bundle for all 3 books. And when that happens, that's a seamless process that you're offering your customers. So on Lulu, there isn't a way to bundle products because it's our marketplace, not yours. You're just selling books on our website. So if you do want to have exciting features like bundling or offering something free with purchase, those transactions have to take place on your own website. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. And thank you for those questions. And let's see. So Kathy, yes, if you update a book already in global distribution, you will have to go through the process again. We are kind of sticklers about that because you have to buy and approve a proof copy before we'll send it through to distribution. This is just a fail safe. We couldn't even count the number of times that people are so excited to publish, they kind of skip or try to override the proof copy part. And then there's always going to be something. There will always be something in your book that shouldn't be there, that could be changed or that needs to change. I was reading, even in traditionally published books, this is true. I was reading Memoirs of a Geisha recently, and I noticed a typo. There's something, this book is a bestseller and there's a typo in it. So, regardless of how many times you go through it, there's always going to be something that probably could be updated or changed. So we are kind of, we have set up our system to mandate that you get a new proof copy if you make changes. So you will have to go through the process again, and go through the purchase global distribution. I think that's just for ebooks, but you would have to do that again. And then Chris, can the same ISBN be used for the same book and different media? The answer is no. You will have to get a new ISBN for every version of your book. So if it's a print book, that's one. If it's a paperback, that's one ISBN. If it's a hardcover, that's another one. If it's an ebook, et cetera, et cetera. So just a quick note on ISBNs. Lulu offers them for free, so you can get one from us and apply it to your title at no cost. The thing to know about that is that when that ISBN is looked up, or what that ISBN is telling people, is that Lulu Press is your publisher. That's not a big deal for a lot of people. That's totally fine. But maybe you want to create your own imprint, or you want to have your branding in that. If that's the case, you want to go to Bowker and buy your own ISBNs, and then you can put in your own imprint name, and that's what will come up as people search that ISBN. So for every different version of your book, you will need a new ISBN. And Ralph is saying, I feel a little overwhelmed with much to do, and hopefully correctly. Yes, it is overwhelming. When you kind of think about all the pieces that go into this puzzle, it is overwhelming, but it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you just start one thing at a time and work your way through it and keep going with it. And so I will say we are getting to the end of the hour. So the last thing I want to mention here, and feel free to drop in any other last minute questions you have. But we do have a course that we've released. This is a paid course. It is a 4-week course that'll walk you through everything you need to know to print your book successfully. So ideally, this is for folks that have a manuscript ready to go and they want to know how to format it. They want to know how to set up their metadata, copyright, go through the publishing process with Lulu, go through the proof copy process, all of that. So this is very specific to getting through the publishing process successfully so that you have a beautiful book in your hands at the end of the day. So we've only got 50 seats in this course, and they're filling up quickly. So if you are interested in registering, please do. I will go ahead and grab the link and drop that into the chat for anyone who is interested. And it'll, again, a 4-week course that starts June 7th. We will go through every Tuesday of the month, and the course will be 90 minutes a week. So we'll do live training, 60 minutes of a live training, then 30 minutes of Q&A, where we can really dive into your specific questions and what's going on with your project. You'll also have, we'll send out a workbook, a guided workbook that'll walk you through everything, and a little bit of Lulu swag. We'll have a Discord channel for you as well, so we can chat and answer any other questions that we're not able to get to in class. So if this is of interest to you, please go ahead and register. We'd love to have you. We'll cut off registration on June 3rd, so we can make sure to get the workbooks and everything out to everybody ready by the date that we start on Tuesday, June 7th. But if you do have questions about formatting or, what kind of trim size you need, what kind of templates, how to find them, how to use them, how to work with a cover designer, all of those things that are really nuts and bolts for getting a beautiful book published, let us know, hop in, join our class. Again, we would love to have you. So I don't see any other questions that have come through yet. So I think that we will go ahead and, I see one from David. Does Lulu plan to add any new paper types, particularly thinner paper? So I don't know. We don't get this question a lot about offering thinner paper. I feel like usually it's kind of the opposite. But as far as I know, I mean, I don't think 60-pound is the thinnest that we offer. I haven't heard any conversations about adding a thinner product type. I'll let Sarah Gilbert hop in if you have any other information about that one.
Yeah, no, I don't think that we have any plans to have thinner paper. A couple of years ago, we introduced a little bit of a thinner paper, but print on demand technology, one book is printed, ink has to dry, and we have the quality of paper that will support that ink coverage and make sure that we have very few print defects. And so, can certainly take that request up to our print team. And then, that's the kind of thing that they will be very mindful of going forward.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. All right. So I know that a few of you still have some questions. Yes. And so if you want to message us privately and drop your email in, then I'll be happy to reach out and follow up and get those answered for you with anything else that you have or any other questions that you have. So I think that we are done for the day. Thank you so much for joining us, for spending your time with us today. I so appreciate it. Thank you, Sarah Gilbert, for coming along with the ride. And we appreciate this. If you enjoyed this, let us know, and we'll see if we can continue doing these in the rotation. I think it's nice to kind of offer a office hour session and just answer any questions that come up. So thank you so much to everyone who tuned in today. If you like our webinars, webinars.lulu.com. We update that when we have a new one coming up. We've got a couple slated for June. You can also auto subscribe whenever you whenever you register for our webinars. You can auto subscribe, and then I will auto subscribe everyone upcoming webinars who are already on the list. Let's see. Yes. So for those of you asking how much the Accelerator course is, $99.99. So please join us. We'd love to have you. And I think that is it. Sarah, do you have anything to sign off?
Nope. Thanks for letting us spend some time with you today. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. Have an awesome Wednesday, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.